Hi, my name is Bob Ciampi, and I'm the author of the book When to Call a Therapist, Expanded Edition. Today, I'd like to talk about a couple topics that I think will be enlightening to people watching this video. And I want to talk about uh, therapists in supervision. Now, you might be wondering, well, what do I mean by therapist in supervision? Um, although we have, many of us have a lot of training, we have a lot of experience, and we've been doing this for quite some time. Um, Therapists don't have the answers for every single problem that comes up. And oftentimes, we encounter situations where we might want to enlist maybe a colleague and to run things by a delicate situation, a situation we haven't maybe seen before, or not with the same details, and we might want to talk to a colleague or a supervisor to look at the case, in many different directions. Um, we may feel that we are uh, looking at it, looking at the options, and seeing the whatever the client brings in, from many different perspectives, and oftentimes we do. However, it's important for a therapist to bounce ideas, to ask for feedback, you know, uh, from them to get a better understanding of what's going on. And certainly, when a therapist does this, they should be acting in a very private and confidential way so as not to identify a client, but to talk about the situation. And it could be a complex situation, and we may not be seeing it fully, whereas a colleague or a supervisor may have a perspective that we didn't think of. So for a therapist to have a supervisor, no matter what your experience level is vitally important. And so some people feel like, well, I've been doing this for a while. I really don't need a supervisor. I don't need to discuss this with anyone else. But in reality, I think it's good practice not only to be able to say, uh, you know, what do you think of this, but to also hear what another person has to say, and this could give us new insight into uh, ways we can better help our client. So I wanted to mention that. I think it's important, and it's important for other therapists to hear this and to do this. Uh, and so another area that I think is very important is for therapists to, you know, therapists certainly have their undergraduate and their graduate degree, and and then they go into private practice. They get licensed. They get their clinical license. They have a lot of supervision during the licensing process, but um, but I feel after doing this for over 25 years that uh, additional training can only help, and whether that additional training is in, some people go into marriage and family therapy. Some therapists get that additional training in hypnotherapy, uh, and some clinicians become behaviorists and work with maybe children with behavioral issues. Many people get there uh, or become a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor. And that's certainly really important. And that can help a lot of people. And some people, like myself, uh, are getting additional training in psychoanalysis. And I got involved with an institute maybe 6 years ago. And at one point, I decided to join, actually get into training, formal training, and I'm currently in my fourth and final year of classes uh, in the psychoanalytic theory and concept. Uh, I actually think it's great because when you get this additional training in whatever modality you choose, you can actually see more of what's going on in the session. And for me, having had all this training and working with the other analysts, I can see the concepts happening right in front of me, and I know when someone is, uh, for example, they might be resistant to going toward a certain topic. Why is that? Or they may be, reacting to maybe something I said, and it may not be me per se that they're reacting to, but they may be reacting to what was said that maybe they heard somewhere in the past. Um, and so there are many other concepts that are used in psychoanalysis. And as a matter of fact, I went to a small networking event the other day. And as I was telling people what I do, I was saying that I'm going to, uh, would like to do more psychoanalytic work in my practice, and I want to utilize the skills that I've learned over the last 5 years and apply them, psychoanalytically with my clients. So that's the direction I'm headed in. Just like other clinicians with additional training, their practice is going to be certainly leaning in that direction, whether it's family systems therapy or some of the other additional trainings that I mentioned a minute ago. So it's really important not only to get the graduate training, then you work in the field, you get licensed, you work in the field, you're supervised, and then you get your clinical license. And still, experience is key, and I feel additional training in some form is necessary uh, to better help our clients. The third point I'd like to bring up is someone once asked me, uh, do therapists do their own therapy? And I thought that was a great question. And the answer is yes. Many therapists are doing their own therapy. Therapists are people too, and therapists may want to uh, better understand their issues, possibly stemming from childhood, or maybe in their adolescence, or just want to get to know themselves a little better so that they can be a better therapist. So, if you ever hear of that concept, or if you ever know of a therapist in therapy or analysis themselves, well, actually, it's a very good thing. And the person is not crazy. And I found out my therapist is in therapy. No, it's a good thing, because if a therapist is going to uh, get into therapy themselves, that tells me that they want to take a look at areas in their life that maybe they haven't looked at before, or they want to better understand themselves and why they do the things they do. This can only make the therapist a stronger clinician, a stronger therapist, and so it's quite common for analysts to be in analysis themselves. So this is a good thing, and I wanted to put this out there to the other therapists that we're people too, we're human too. Life affects us all, and so if you're struggling with a part of your life, and but you feel that I'm a therapist. How can I be in therapy myself? Well, we're also human beings, and human beings sometimes need the assistance and guidance from another therapist or another analyst. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about those three topics. One of a therapist being in supervision, no matter how much experience you have or how much training you have, because just to have another set of eyes and ears is vitally important to the work that we do. Point number two is the additional training. I think it's very very important for a therapist to specialize, if you will, in an area outside of the training we've had in graduate school. Oftentimes that's called a generalist training, where they give you an overview of a lot of different modalities, and a lot of different treatment methods, but it's not specified to maybe one area of training. And so I think it's good practice for therapists to get that additional layer of training, again, to better apply it with their clients. And then the third point was, should a therapist be in therapy themselves? Well, that's up to each person to decide that, but I would not dissuade any clinician from doing that. They might say, well, how can a therapist be in therapy? What's the message that's sending to the clients? And I think the message is that the therapist is looking to make themselves the best person they possibly can be to their clients. And so I would applaud any therapist who's in therapy themselves to take a look at possibly some of the issues that they're currently going through, but also to get to know themselves a lot better. So I want to thank you for watching, and as always, please leave some feedback at the end of this, and looking forward to producing more podcasts in the not too distant future. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.